Welcome, everyone, to the L7C Podcast College Football Edition. Today, we are going to be talking about the OSU versus Wisconsin football game that just took place, previewing the Rutgers game, going across college football as there were upsets this weekend, and looking ahead to another week of top 10, top 25 matchups. We got the captain with us, Byron Mitchell. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good.
We got Mr. Cedric Ware with us. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for asking. And we got a special appearance on the College Football Pod. We got the NFL expert, the head producer, Mr. Justin Ackendale. What's going on? Thanks for popping in.
Man, I sit here on my Sundays in the fall, and I watch college football all goddamn day. All fucking day. I mean, from the game at noon to the fucking Pac-12 at night. It's all goddamn day. I got some shit to say.
We can't wait. Do you want to start with the shit you want to say, or do you want to talk about Buckeyes and Wisconsin first?
I'll just slide right into the segments as normally planned.
Okay.
Ain't gonna be the star of the show here.
Byron, go ahead. Tell us about the OSU blitzing of Wisconsin and what happened to them.
Trash.
All right. Wisconsin did not hit us in the mouth as I thought they would. Ohio State dominated majority of the game. We won 52-21. CJ Stroud, 17 for 27, 281 yards, 5 touchdowns. He did have his first turnover of the season through one interception. I believe it was to like double coverage for a pass he probably shouldn't have forced, but it happens. Travion Henderson, 21 carries, 121 yards, no touchdowns. Mayan Williams, 11 carries for 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Our running game was looking good. Emeka Egbuka, 6 receptions, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is his third game with over 100 receiving yards. He's going off the season. Julian Fleming, 4 receptions, 67 yards, a touchdown. Cade Stover, our tight end, finally got some love, 4 receptions, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Marvin Harrison Jr. had a quiet game of 3 receptions, 45 yards, and 0 touchdowns. We did have another turnover. Teron McAllister had a beautiful interception. Returned that for 30 yards. I don't know where Graham Mertz was throwing it to, but he threw it right into Teron McAllister's hand. So that was a great turnover. I believe it was their first or second possession for Wisconsin. So that really started the game off well for us. On the last podcast, I said, watch out for Braylon Allen. He had 23 carries for 165 yards for a touchdown. He had a 75-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. So that was his longest carry of the game, but he was averaging like 7 yards per carry. So that was my thoughts on the game.
Apologies. I was going to say, Cedric, what did you like about the game? What you saw, what you didn't like about the Buckeye team? It was a complete dominating effort.
I love the passing. Honestly, just shows. I know last time we mentioned there's a lot of weapons at CJ Stroud's disposal here, even outside of Jackson Smith-Njigba. And I think that this was truly like if last game didn't show you it, and the game before that didn't show you it, you can't walk away after watching this one and say, yeah, we got options out here. I mean, Cade Stover, 2 touchdowns. Those passes that he caught too were amazing grabs. I mean, Emeka Fleming, like, people are going off in positions. I mean, even I'll put this, Marvin Harrison Jr. was the person that stepped up right after him and Emeka, and they chose to cover Marvin Harrison Jr. And you still see, like, we're going to get ours, essentially. So, honestly, great efforts all around. I mean, yeah, first turnover, but we're in week 3, man's throwing 5 touchdowns. I'll take 1 turnover for 5 touchdowns.
Fair enough. Justin, you're a Buckeye supporter.
Yes,
what did you think about the game?
I mean, Wisconsin just sucks. I mean, let's be real. When I realized that Graham Mertz was still the quarterback of Wisconsin, I was like, oh, Ohio State about to whoop the dog shit out of him. And then, like, that running back y'all mentioned from Wisconsin, he had that 75-yard run in the fourth quarter. Without that motherfucker only has 90 yards rushing on, like, 23 carries. So that's not a good night. It was just a total domination. You can't really, like, even, like, form opinions about Ohio State off this game because Wisconsin is just so bad. I mean, the teams that they beat before this game, I mean, they were putting up points against Illinois State and New Mexico State. And the other real Power 5 team they played was Washington State, and they lost and only scored 17 points. So Wisconsin was just not a very good football team. I'm interested to see what they do in the rest of the Big Ten. It seems like they're looking at probably second place as Minnesota. Looks like they're going to be pretty good this year. But yeah, Wisconsin just sucks. Ohio State did what they did. Do what they do most of the time. So you can't really make any overreaching assumptions about Ohio State. Only thing I got from the game is, yeah, Wisconsin really is bad.
I think the only thing that you could really say about this game, and I think Cedric alluded to it, is just like throwing an anime reference in here. Ohio State's not even in its final form. If people didn't watch the game, Jackson Smith-Njigba didn't even play. And he hasn't even played that much this season. So if we're doing all this stuff without our best receiver, who's going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, what is this team going to look like when we're at full strength? So that's the only thing I'm seeing. It's like we don't even have Jackson, and these past 2 games have been 50 balls, 50, 70 balls. So that's what I'm looking forward to see. When Jackson gets in fully, is CJ going to try and force feed him? Is he going to keep spreading the ball around like he's doing? What our defense is going to do, because you can't leave Jackson in single coverage. You can't leave Marvin Harrison in single coverage. And you got Ibuka. Then you got Stovers. Like, what are they going to do there? There was one thing I heard on the radio, which I wanted to ask you guys about Henderson and Mayan Williams. There's been some talk saying that people want Mayan Williams to start. I don't really think it matters, but just wanted to hear your guys' opinion on who you think is better between the two, and does it matter who starts or not?
I don't think it matters. Even though, like Justin said, Wisconsin is trash this season. I mean, Travion Henderson, Mayan Williams both had 100-yard games this game. Mayan Williams seems like he's getting more touchdowns than Travion Henderson, so I can see why people would want him to start, but I don't think it matters. I like the 1-2 punch that we have.
So
I don't know if I would say, because this is my first time seeing Mayan Williams this season. I know last season he was out, so I didn't really before that I didn't really know anything about him for real. So I'm not going to say just write him out and say oh, there's no way he's better than Travion Henderson. But I will say statistically wise, he gets more yards per carry. And like Byron said, he's getting those red zone touchdowns. But I don't know if that's just because it's part of his series. Like they take a series on, series off, series on, series off. And it just so happens that they're like, hey, we're going to run the ball into the end zone this time. I honestly don't think it matters. Splitting backs works. I like a change of pace. I feel like Mayan's definitely your power back who's going to run hard straight into it, and he's going to break tackles. So I always like having that type of back on the team. I think this is and correct me if I'm wrong, this kind of reminds me back with Beanie Wells and his running back team, where it's Wells is the starter, but you got other options there to kind of change up the pace of game, change up the running game. I mean, that's with all the receiving options, I don't see a problem with having another facet to our offense that can change the tide of the game.
Justin,
I really don't think it matters as long as they're both producing while they're in there. Myron Williams is a junior and Travion Henderson's a senior. The only thing that I will be concerned about, honestly, is if Travion Henderson feels some type of way about having to split carries after last year when he was the main back and college football transfer portal. The only thing I'll be worried about is if he might want to transfer.
That was the only thing that when they were talking about on the radio, I thought about, because like you said, Justin, these players now, if you feel some type of way, you can just leave.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the wide receivers where CJ can throw to all of you within a game. Like running backs, carries are hard to come by. So that was the only thing I thought of, but something to just keep watch. Before we go to the rest of college football, because that's more interesting, Ohio State plays Rutgers 3:30, so we don't have a night game. The spread is 40.5. So
let's go, Scarlet Knights.
Scarlet Knights 3-1, coached by old Greg Schiano, who knows this program pretty well. I mean, it's 3:30, even though it said 4 o'clock on Big Ten, it might change. But the only thing with this game is just no one gets hurt, and we just take care of business and be on the way.
Same. I don't think it'll be, not to say it'll be a walk in the park, but it's going to be a walk in the park.
The only thing I care about, Aki, you think they're going to cover the spread?
I actually do.
40.5.
There we go.
You said 40 and a half or 48 and a half?
40 and a half.
So I watched a lot of that Rutgers Iowa game last week because I'd be betting, and I took the over on it because like Iowa's just been not scoring at all, and the over for that game was literally like 34 points, and they got over it, and Iowa whooped the dog shit out of them. So with Ohio State's high-power offense, Iowa can get almost 30 points on Rutgers. I'm scared to see what Ohio State's going to do to them.
And most of Iowa's points weren't even from their offense. Their defense outscored their offense.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually kind of insulting.
I'm just being honest. And then, obviously, Ohio State's 4-0. We're 2-2 against the spread. The first 2 games they didn't cover. These last 2 they have covered. So this would be a tiebreaker if they do cover. But again, just don't get hurt in this game. But let's go to the rest of college football because there was actually a lot of good games, a lot of upsets. Let's talk about the rivalry. The team up north, Michigan, played their first real school this year and 34-27 against Baby Tua and Maryland. Justin, did you get to catch that game? And if you did, what are you thinking of Michigan so far, also undefeated?
I did not watch that game, unfortunately. I was too invested in Clemson, Wake Forest.
Which we'll get to that next.
Yeah, I was keeping some eyes on it. I was nervous for Michigan a little bit, but they ended up pulling it out. I like JJ McCarthy and the running back that they got. They can definitely score the ball as long as Harbaugh doesn't start putting Mara and the quarterback from last year, because I personally think he's not very good. I like McCarthy better, but yeah, Michigan just played a real team after playing cupcakes the first 3 weeks. So they just had to, get used to like actually playing like a decent football team in the Big Ten instead of the bullshit teams that they were playing in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Cedric, Byron, anything else you guys want to add on to Michigan squeaking it out?
I watched a little bit of this game, watched the first half while I was getting my haircut. So I really thought Maryland had a chance because they were coming out looking good. They went up 13-10 early in the second quarter, but then Michigan scored twice with touchdowns. And then, just basically back and forth between the two. And then on the last drive, Baby Tua threw his second interception of the game and just sealed it. Otherwise than that, I think it was a good game. Hopefully Maryland can rebound from this and go on and win more games. But Michigan is looking good. Can't wait to play them in that last game of the season. Revenge game.
Cedric, anything you want to add on Michigan, Iowa, and Michigan and Maryland?
And fuck Michigan.
Fair enough. The reason I said Iowa is because Michigan has a big noon kickoff this Saturday at Iowa at 12 p.m.
So the defense is good, but they can't score. They cannot fucking score to save their lives. So
no.
As long as Michigan gets to 20 points, they'll win the game.
Yeah. This game is at Iowa though. So Iowa will be hyped up a little bit, but like you said, their offense is their defense.
Yeah.
If their defense can't create turnovers and score off picks and fumbles, they can't score. Justin alluded to it. Let's go to the game of the weekend. Clemson escaping Wake Forest, double overtime. Justin, you brought up a little bit, man. What did you think about Clemson in this Wake Forest game?
I mean, this game was crazy. I was more pissed about, honestly, that during the broadcast, it kept fucking cutting into the fucking Yankees game to see Aaron Judge hit that stupid ass home run that he still has not hit yet. That was really pissed me off. Like, this game was fire. I mean, goes into overtime. I mean, DJ had 5 touchdowns. Sam Hartman, the Wake Forest quarterback, had 6 touchdowns. They were just throwing bombs at some point. Like, yeah, it was at Wake. I was scared that Clemson was about to lose and dropping the rankings, but they're able to pull it out.
I do want to say something about DJ, though, because last year, obviously, it was like his first full year starting after freaking Trevor Lawrence. And a lot of people were down on him at the end of the year, thinking he wasn't going to amount to much. And that game, if you haven't put your doubts away, 5 touchdowns, clutch performance. DJ's the real deal. He's not Deshaun or Trevor, but he can play.
Yeah, I think Clemson's going to be a factor come playoff time.
Well, we'll say if they make the playoffs, because they have a big game this weekend that we'll highlight in the big games of the week. Byron, what'd you think of the Clemson game?
Oh, I was on the edge of my seat during the last 20 minutes of the game where they're just trading passes back and forth. Neither of these teams can really play defense that well because like Sam Hartman threw 6 touchdowns and DJ threw 5. But it was a great game. I stopped watching the Maryland-Michigan game to watch this game because it was just so back and forth, and I wanted to see if Clemson would pull it out, and they did in the second overtime because they scored the first touchdown, and then Sam Hartman just couldn't get it done on his second possession of the second overtime. But it was a great game.
Cedric, anything you want to add to Clemson's double OT win?
No, I think everyone kind of pretty much covered it. I mean, it's going to be great to see how they deal with next week, but amazing football being played, folks. Amazing football being played.
Justin, let's go to your conference, SEC.
You want to start?
Well,
SEC was fire last week.
It was. Let's start with a guy who I actually put on notice the last podcast. Jimbo
this
Fisher.
bastard. God, they should have lost that fucking game.
Yes, they should have
lost that shit.
Yes, they should have lost. You understand when that I'll tell everyone this. When Arkansas was getting ready to kick the field goal, I was already getting ready to. I was right when I was going to say about Jimbo. I was already having the notes on my life.
Like, whoa! I was waiting. I had Arkansas +2. Thank God A&M missed the extra point, so it was a push. But yeah, man, like Arkansas should have won that game. They got Alabama. Arkansas has Alabama this week, so their season's about to start spiraling, unfortunately. But A&M, they're in trouble. They are in trouble. I don't. They definitely aren't good. I don't think that they're going to fire Jimbo just because like before he was there, they really weren't doing anything, and he's been getting them like he's been getting them top 10 recruiting classes. And like once the playoff expands, he's probably going to be in it every year. They're always just looking out most of the time before they lose to Alabama. So I don't think they're going to fire him. And then who they're going to replace him with?
I already said it last time.
Mark Stoops. Yeah,
Mark Stoops beats Georgia this year, he's out of there. Guarantee it. He's out.
Yeah, but Kentucky got to get past Tennessee this year. Tennessee.
They do. They got to beat them too. But I'm just saying, I was looking at the Georgia game because I'm just saying, Justin, like from what's besides recruiting class, the wins are not equating. He ain't winning the same. He's not even winning more than Kevin Sumlin was. And Kevin Sumlin at least got a Heisman Trophy winner out of his Texas A&M teams.
That's true. It's just like Jimbo Fisher's an offensive guy. Like,
yeah.
At Florida State, he took Jameis Winston to a Heisman. And it's just often like he does not have a quarterback. And I do not understand why. Like, Kellen Mond was decent, but like he wasn't really that good. The quarterback before the past 2 years. Like, I just don't understand why their offense isn't better. They always have a good back. The defense is already good. It's just something about those A&M receivers and quarterback position mainly that they just aren't getting right. That they just aren't clicking with.
Let me throw this to y'all. Because now thinking about what you just said, Justin, the quarterback. To be honest, Jimbo Fisher is just the SEC version of Jim Harbaugh, if you really think about it. Because Jim Harbaugh, like when Justin said, with Jimbo, took Jameis, Heisman. Jameis was the number 1 pick in his draft, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just think about the quarterback who everyone connects QB whisperer Jim Harbaugh to, Andrew Luck, who was a number 1 pick. And since they haven't had Jameis and Luck, they went to different schools. And like Justin said, that top quarterback has not been produced. The only difference is Harbaugh's been to the playoffs and Jimbo has not.
Yeah, but like Harbaugh had to fight tooth and nail to get to the playoffs.
He did, but at least he's gone. Jimbo, he beat Bama and still couldn't go.
I mean, the SEC, bro, we talked about this. I've said this so many times. The SEC is something else, man. I swear to God. Like, you got to, like...
They're the best conference in the goddamn country.
They really are.
They are.
They really are. And it's no surprise because, like, they send 2 teams to the playoffs every year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ain't in the top 2, you ain't going. Like, simple as that. Like, and I'll tell you right now, these niggas wasn't beating Alabama, so they can only be invitee number 2 because Nick Saban got money.
But they just
be paying everybody.
But they just don't lose to Alabama. That's the thing. Like, just Texas A&M loses to other teams, and then you're like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah. I mean, shit.
Like, if they were just losing to Alabama, that one thing, fine. But they're out there losing to South Carolinas and all of that. You paid them $95 million, and they're big games in 2 weeks. I just don't see how much longer he'll be there.
Yeah, he lost 4 games last year.
Mm-hmm. If this was the NFL, that Arkansas kicker, he would have been let go the next day.
I don't know, though. Like, we thought the same thing about Michigan when they kept taking, like, L's. Like, true L's to Ohio State. It's like, damn, they really brought this man in just to beat Ohio State for real. He hasn't done shit. They got the Jordan deal, yeah, but they still losing in Jordan. And then he got his 1 break, and they love him again.
Well, that's because Michigan, they well, as Justin said with Jimbo, who the hell would they hire? Michigan had no one who they would hire for Jim, and Jim did
at
have
the time, though, like, they had, like, Lincoln Riley, who went all the way across the country, got a private fucking jet and 5 houses.
Well, Lincoln Riley's a regular.
I don't think Lincoln would have went to Michigan.
And I really wouldn't care about Lincoln. He's a regular season coach. He can't win in the postseason, so it doesn't matter to me what he goes. So.
Damn, don't be dog USA. Hey, they doing good.
Only like 3 coaches have won natties in like the past like 20 years anyway.
It's the fact he can't even get there. He can't even get there.
Man, where are he coming from?
He was at Oklahoma. They went to the playoffs with Jalen Hurts that one year. Got Shimoti doped. And then
can they go with not Sam Bradford, but
no, they went with Baker.
Yeah, thank you, Baker.
That's when he won the Heisman. They lost on the reverse that Georgia did, and then Georgia lost to. But that man don't be going.
They beat us.
Oh yeah, back in the day, but he's not good. Well, he's good, but he ain't winning shit. But Texas A&M, Justin, do you think with their upcoming schedule, what do you think the ceiling is for them? Because Jimbo's always going to be the talk because, October 8th, that game against Bama.
We need to stop hyping that up. We need
you
to
have
stop.
to.
Like, why don't you hyping every game against Bama? It's Bama. They have more to lose than anyone else.
I got lost for Bama, but it ain't going to be A&M. Like A&M is not being.
You think it's this week?
What? No, Arkansas won't beat them either.
Who's good?
Are you talking about Tennessee?
Is Alabama?
Byron's right. I think Tennessee's going to do it.
Well, if Tennessee's pass rush is better than Texas's, then they can do
shit.
Tennessee's defense is god awful. Tennessee's defense is god awful. They're going to outscore those motherfuckers. That's what they're going to do.
Like,
oh yeah, their quarterback is
because the teams that come close to being Bama, you gotta have a hurt backup in there. You don't get no freebies this way. You gotta sacrifice.
I mean, if you look at Alabama's next 3 games at number 20 Arkansas versus number 7, I don't know how the hell they went at 17 Texas A&M and at number 8 Tennessee. That's a pretty good stretch. This is their actually playing some real team stretch.
I mean, this is just the SEC stretch.
I don't think they're going to get out that stretch undefeated.
It's the SEC stretch. Like,
yeah,
you know the game. How many SEC teams are ranked right now?
Overall,
Like
Yeah.
6, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ole Miss is 5, 6, 7, 7.
Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. Like, in Bama's mind, it's like, yo, we're playing these teams. Yeah, they're ranked. They got numbers next to them. But in Bama, hey, you play these motherfuckers every year.
I'm just telling you, these niggas gotta go to Neyland October 15th after the A&M game. That place is gonna be fucking rocking. I'll bet money game day will be there. That game, I don't think
You gonna throw overalls on? You gonna throw some white overalls on?
Hell no. But I'm telling you, if there's a loss on Alabama's schedule, it's a Tennessee.
Justin, my problem is Tennessee are they gonna overlook them because they'll be at LSU the week before? And
Tennessee?
because you know how these teams are. Sometimes they have that big game and then they overlook the team they should be, and then they lose.
I mean, yeah, they might lose. They're on bye this week. They got LSU and then Alabama. I mean, yeah, they could probably lose that LSU game, but I'm telling you, they're going to be fired up to play Alabama. That offense is special. Hendon Hooker, old ass man, 24 years old. He is special. Like that team can put up some goddamn points, and they're going to give Alabama a run for their money.
Justin, if they escape their stretch, they're gonna have a loss. But theoretically, if they do not lose their next 4 games after Alabama, Tennessee will be the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, because they'll beat Georgia.
Absolutely,
they have Kentucky before Georgia.
That's going to be a tough. That's going to be a tough ass game too. But yeah, if Tennessee if they leave November 5th beating Georgia, they're number 1 team in the country.
Yeah,
and they get Alabama and Kentucky at home.
Yeah, they got set up for him, man.
It is. They just got to compute. And Kentucky's no slouch either. Watching them play and Mark Stoops, they are. The game day might be a bad game when that game happens. But if you just go into previewing other stuff, I mean, this week you got North Carolina State, who's number 10 versus number 5 Clemson. And this is the first time this decade North Carolina State and Tennessee are in the top 10 in this decade ever.
Wow.
3 years in the decade, but I mean 2 years into the decade.
They mean in the 2000 10s included. These teams have not been good. Not top 10 worth, especially Tennessee.
Yeah, especially Tennessee. I'm not really too familiar with North Carolina State. They're ranked 10, so that's going to be a good one. I'm going to learn something on Saturday watching that. But
they are the night game.
Yes, but I know Tennessee can score. That is one thing that I can say with 100% confidence. The defense can't fucking stop anybody. That's for damn sure certain. But they can score, and they did that. They did that to Florida without their best receiver, Cedric Tillman Jr. They even have their best receiver, who's going to be he's going to the league. He's probably going to be a first or second round pick.
And then Justin, what happened? Because you're on here, because they start off. What happened to Florida, man? Like, are they going to spiral out of control this season? Or are they going to right the ship?
Man, Florida can definitely they can definitely knock some teams out of contention. I mean, they already lost twice, so their season's kind of. I mean, they're not going to go to the playoff or anything, but Florida showed me some things against Tennessee, because that game against the week before against South Florida, Anthony Richardson, the quarterback, played like complete dog shit. I mean, he looked terrible. It was after the Utah game. Oh my God, he might win the Heisman. And then after the Kentucky game, you're like, after the Kentucky game, the second game, like, I don't know, this nigga playing like shit. And then after the USF game, he played like complete dog shit. And then he kind of righted the ship against Tennessee. So if he keeps playing well, he can definitely they can definitely ruin it for some teams. I see Georgia on their schedule there. I don't think they're going to beat Georgia at all, but they can definitely beat A&M and Florida State, who's ranked down.
And then there was another upset. Oklahoma went down as well already.
They have Nebraska's old quarterback Martinez at K-State.
He's still playing?
Yeah.
Baby,
Nigga's still here.
grad school, baby.
But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I
He
don't
would
know.
have graduated by now.
I don't know what the fuck Scott
Undeclared.
Frost was doing, but he was going off against Oklahoma. And Kansas State has a first round running back, Deuce Vaughn, who's really good too.
And then every time anyone says the U's back, then the U loses to Middle Tennessee.
No, that game was horrible.
Or just like when they say Texas, which they should have beat Alabama, but then they lose to Texas Tech.
That was a great game too.
So those are some things. But we were talking about some teams looking ahead in the SEC. I do want to talk about a team outside of Michigan who has given us competitive games in the past 10 years, Penn State. They're currently undefeated. They have Northwestern this weekend, which if they take care of business, they should win. But then the next three games after that, we're going to find out if Penn State's really good or not, because they go to Michigan, then Minnesota, then Ohio State.
Oh my God. What? Why does Ohio State never have a hard ass schedule in the Big Ten like this? God damn! First of all, Ohio State
I know that gauntlet
has been at home for the first month of the goddamn season. The first 5 weeks of the season, they about to be at home. They don't play a fucking road game until after the Rutgers game. They don't have to play 3 ranked games back to back to back. This is bullshit.
To be honest, I have no idea how this schedule even came about. I don't know if
What
those
the
games.
fuck? Like, why is Penn State's 3 hardest games of the season back
All in
to
a
back
row.
to back? On
Oh yeah, they're losing. They're losing one. They might lose. They might lose all 3.
Their only saving
possible.
grace is 2 of those games are at home.
Yeah.
They only
Yeah,
gotta go to
Valley.
Michigan.
Yep, they only got to go to Michigan, and then they got Minnesota at home, 7:30, and then Ohio State at home on October 29th. Still TBD, but Byron said, "Ain't no way in hell that school's letting that be an afternoon game."
Hell no.
If they beat Michigan and Minnesota before they go to Ohio,
It'll be a top
before
5
Ohio State
matchup.
goes to them, it'll be a top 5 matchup, and there's no way in hell they're saying that's an afternoon game, so they can't get a whiteout.
That's a game, Fox or ESPN.
Hasn't been decided yet.
Well, if it's on Fox, then it's going to be at noon. ESPN's getting that game. It's going to be at night. Byron's right. There's no way.
ESPN's trying to get as many games as possible for the new contract.
Right.
Exactly. And that game, OSU Penn State rates. I don't know how they like divvy up the schedules. Like I need to like figure out how that shit works. Like
so-
how they with the like TV contracts. Like how are they picking the games that you get?
So before this new shit with the new records and stuff, they all used to go to like a meeting, and then there'd be like, it almost be like a draft, honestly, how they were describing it. So you would get your guaranteed game, like Fox, guaranteed OSU, Michigan, 12 p.m. Or like Alabama, guaranteed Alabama, Auburn, 3:30. So you get your like few guarantees, and then you're just literally like drafting games.
So like, can one network pay more for like the bigger game?
Yeah, you can. Well, before this new shit. Because we were just on like that game up against Wisconsin was just on ABC. Like they're just like, oh yeah, we're making that a night game. We're going to ABC, and like we haven't even played a big noon kickoff yet on Fox.
I'm very interested to see how like that new Big Ten TV deal is going to work then with CBS, Fox, and NBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the major networks except ESPN and ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that will work. Like, who's on what networks going to have the night game every week? Who's going to have the bigger games? Probably Fox, but it's just interesting to see. Actually, shit, maybe even CBS because they're losing the SEC. That 3:30 slot's going to be a marquee Big Ten game, and then they always have like a late game with Alabama, so that's probably going to be a Michigan Ohio State spot as well, or Penn State.
Yeah, because Alabama LSU was always at 8:00.
Yep.
Like when they were both really good, 8:00 CBS, and now NBC's in there too. So they play like at 4, 7, or no.
Yeah,
It's
the
gonna be
CBS,
wild next year.
CBS Alabama night game is A&M and Bama now since LSU fell off.
That's true. But yeah, just like you talked about our stretch, like after Rutgers, who now it'll be at Michigan State, which they're not good. Versus Iowa, then at Penn State, at Northwestern, versus Indiana, at Maryland, and versus Michigan.
You know, if Iowa or Michigan State were good, I guess it would have been a hard stretch.
Yeah,
if they were good, but they're not.
Nope, they fell off. They fell off, and Michigan State's coach, who got paid $95 million because he came out of nowhere and beat Michigan, and then Ohio State rung 60 on them last year. It's going to be bad now because their team is bad. Iowa, they just got good defense. Their offense can't do a damn thing. I mean, Penn State, every year, they don't go away.
That game's a wild card. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Sean Clifford, but they got another good running back. I know they got a good receiver. So, yeah, Penn State's always going to be a tough game. And then, of course, Michigan at the end of the year, they're actually good. But that game going to be at the shoe this year. Woo! Columbus going to be on one for that one.
It's gonna start during the Maryland week because especially if Michigan, I don't know if I was betting on Michigan Penn State, I really have to see the line on that one because I don't know if I take Michigan in that game. But
do they play Penn State before they play us?
They play with Minnesota and Michigan before they play us. They're going through hell.
Hopefully no one gets hurt in that stretch for them. If someone gets hurt, then that game just goes to complete shit.
Yeah, they're at Michigan on the 15th. Big House is going to be rocking for that game. But I don't know, Justin, you're right. It's going to be at the shoe that week of Thanksgiving. Like after that, it's going to be, especially if Michigan's still undefeated, because that truly means whoever loses this, you ain't going.
Nope.
Because this ain't the SEC.
Yeah, I don't know if the Rose Bowl is a semifinal game, but shit, it seems like Ohio State doesn't give a fuck about going to the Rose Bowl anymore.
Yeah, we have this mentality like where, well, it's title or bust, even though we've only won like 2 titles in 20 years. So
I know, but y'all in that elite though. Like my tiers of college football, at least for 2022 in the past three years, it starts with Bama, Georgia, OSU, and then everybody else. Like Ohio State.
Wait. What's your years based off of?
Past 3 or 4 years. Or
I hate to say you can't have us above Clemson then.
Oh fuck! I forgot about Clemson. I'm even forgetting about Clemson, man.
We don't down here. They've given us some weapons.
I know they have. I know, but I'd be forgetting about them. All right, those 4 teams and everyone else.
Because Clemson, they got 2 titles, 2 in these past 4. They show the stats since 2015. Like Clemson has won a couple of titles, Alabama's won a couple, and we have won 0.
Yeah. All right. Since 2014 hasn't been a decade yet, so past 8 years.
Okay.
OSU, Bama, Georgia, Clemson, Oklahoma's looking in.
Because Oklahoma has made the playoffs a good amount of times. Yeah. Georgia's actually won it. I could agree with that. And that's a good one. I mean, then you had those random Pac-12 teams who used to be good with like Oregon and Washington, but they have fallen off.
You had a couple Notre Dames.
Notre Dame has made the playoffs a couple times too. Shoot, I mean, they did better against Alabama the year than we did.
That is very true.
Indy is squarely in that second class to me after those 4 teams. And then you can try to figure out who's in the second tier. I'm not going to fucking do it, but
I could do that off when we're off recording. I can actually think of those. But I did want to bring something about Penn State for people who didn't know how recruiting is so important in college football, how things would have been so much differently because Justin Fields almost went to Penn State.
Yeah.
So that's why recruiting is so important.
Kentucky's current quarterback, Will Levis, who's going to be a first-round NFL pick, he was at Penn State and transferred to UK.
Mm-hmm. They can't keep
Clifford.
They can't keep a quarterback. They have everyone else. Obviously, we've seen Saquon. I mean, Surly was a good college quarterback. He did put up numbers. And he did hang some yards on our ass too. Obviously, Michael Parsons, like they get players over there, man. It's just if they had if you had that 5-star quarterback starting, we would be in some trouble because they get everything else.
Yeah, James Franklin can definitely recruit. He definitely can.
I remember when he was supposed to be a candidate for USC, and then he's like, "No, I'm staying here."
He didn't want to go. He got good at Penn State. They're never going to fucking fire him.
He does have a Big Ten championship in the past 8 years, 2016.
Yep.
Penn State doesn't have the expectations that Michigan has. Like, they were thinking about firing Harbaugh because he wasn't beating Ohio State. Penn State don't have to deal with that.
You want to talk about that? Wait till it gets to November. We hear the talks of if we lose again, it's time for Ryan to go.
Oh, get the fuck out of here! I ain't listening to none of that.
Yeah, nope. I'm telling you,
I ain't listening to none of that, bro. Ryan Day is hard.
There were people already saying that last year.
Right, they wanted to fire him last year.
Nah, get the fuck on with that. He's a little abrasive. I'm not gonna lie, but he's an Urban Meyer protege. What do you expect? I mean, nah, not Ryan Day.
I mean, he'll be gone.
On that.
I mean, once he wins the title, he'll be gone because the NFL.
You think? Oh, the NFL.
The NFL will be calling him.
Bro, I don't know, man. Like,
that man could call plays. He'll be a nice, like, baby Shanahan offensive coordinator.
He gonna make more money at in the NFL than at Ohio State, though. I don't know.
No,
I don't know. If you got one of those jobs at those 4 schools that I said, dude, that's as good as any NFL job you can get. I mean, it's not totally the same with the transfer portal, but you still have so much more control over your players than you do.
Yeah, but Justin, you know, these college coaches, they want to go they want to I want to prove myself in the NFL. Hell, from a standpoint, at least you get some time off in the NFL. College, it's full 20. There's no days off.
Yeah.
When the NFL season
the Bears
over,
rumored that they wanted Ryan Day in the offseason.
Oh, yeah, the Bears. Yeah, that was the rumor, but he wasn't. Once he wins the title, then he's not long for this team.
Yeah, but then he has to do big things. Can't go Urban Meyer it up.
I don't think that would happen. Urban Meyer was an anomaly of how bad he was in the NFL. Like
that's all right. He'll be
really bad.
Just wait till he turns around Nebraska next year.
I was just getting ready to say that when he goes to Nebraska next year.
Shit, you can have the cornfields get twerked on. That's okay.
Because he's the type. He does not want that Jacksonville thing to be the last thing in his coaching legacy.
Oh, hell no, man.
No way.
You need to be having barn burners out there. He's going to have fun.
Man. Anything else anyone want to say about what's going on in college football? There's already 4 games in, man.
I will like to call out one team. Minnesota is quietly going 4-0, and they might actually win the Big Ten West, and we might have to play them and that amazing running back of Mohamed Ibrahim.
Someone got to win the Big Ten West. I know they ain't going to be Iowa or fucking Wisconsin. I know
that's
that.
The thing every year. Someone's got to win.
Someone got to come out that side. Shit, you can say that with the SEC East, whatever division that Clemson is in the ACC. Like, someone got to be in that game.
Even though I don't really care for them, they should, since they're on the West Coast, they should put USC in the Big Ten West if we still keep the East and West.
Yeah.
Don't put them on,
dog. Come on.
You know I don't think they're going to put OSU and USC on the same side whenever that's going to be interesting.
That'd be so
we already have Michigan and Penn State on the same side. And when Michigan State is good, that's always when they're good. Yeah. But Minnesota,
be on some trash if they put UCLA.
Well, they suck.
The East.
No, their football team's embarrassing. They can't even fill up a quarter of their stadium anymore. I pay attention to like those numbers when I'm reading like the stuff when I'm getting ready for Justin's stuff, looking at numbers for the NFL, and I'm like, oh, let me check the college things, and their numbers are terrible.
Yeah.
Hey, they're a basketball school.
Man, if you were going to college in LA, would you be sitting up and watching your shitty football team?
Hell no.
Team in the middle of Saturday when there's plenty of other shit to do? Because I certainly wouldn't. Shit, I barely watched UC games while I was in college. I had to drink.
Well, when you were good last year, were you watching almost every game?
Yeah, I went to a game last year.
mean, they gotta be good, but they're trash. But Muhammad Ibrahim, yeah, if people remember when he was fully healthy in that OSU game, he was busting our ass. And
He look healthy again this year. He back.
Yes, he
I
does.
know. Well, no, because he was fully healthy that game. That would have been a quick 0-1.
Yep.
Because he was busting OSU's ass, and then he got hurt, and then OSU smoked him.
That's what happens when OSU has to fucking go on the road in the first month of the season.
That is true. That is true.
Well,
Who the hell gets 1 month? Literally, the first 5 fucking weeks of the season, they have not left Columbus. They've been chilling. Like, that is such a fucking advantage. Like, I don't care.
Nope. It's funny you brought that up too, because there was a couple of years ago, Cedric brought up when Baker beat us. The game before that, went on the road, started the season at Indiana. Indiana's quarterback threw for 400 yards on our head.
yes, he
It
did.
wasn't Penix, was it?
That was
I
not
believe it
Penix.
was.
We should
No,
know.
that was a
It was
different
a
year.
year because that was
Was it?
Baker. That was Baker's year. Baker was
I think he had
2017. We
quarterback
still had
was then.
JT. He was some white guy. No offense. Penix, we almost lost it. That was rough. That was the
Wait, what year was that?
2017. It was the Indiana game. It was the Thursday night opening game. I was just bringing up Justin's point. Like, yeah, when we start on the road, people put up some stuff on us. Because in my whole life, I've never seen a whole month where OSU's been at home. I've never seen this in my life.
Like, me either. Like, bro, like, I always remember them. They'll go USC, they'll go to Texas, but I know they got home at home with Notre Dame, so they're going to go to Notre Dame next year. But, like, still, though, that is still
Shout out to brother Marcus Freeman taking out North Carolina.
I know I was an idiot for fading him last Saturday. Won't do that again.
Brother Freeman. All right.
So I have it pulled up. His name is Richard Legal. 40 for 65 for 410 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
God damn.
Oh, bro. Then the next game, Baker smoked us and he planted that flag like Cedric said. Our defense was bad.
Yeah.
I remember just like being mad that we lost and then seeing him plant flag. I was like, well, that's real. I can't be upset with him. Because if we fucking lost, if we didn't lose, he's not planting the flag.
I mean, he planted the flag in fucking turf. Like, he fucking stuck it down and fell down. If he was really real, he would have just, took the flag and just laid it in the middle of the O at the 50. That would have been harder.
Again, remember, think about who you're talking about here. You really think he was thinking that through?
Well,
do you really think he was thinking that through?
Turf is ass too. Like that's a whole. Wait till we get later in the playoff talk because we ain't gonna be able to host a home playoff game because our turf is so ass. So, but that's later.
What do you mean?
So another thing with like when they're talking about these home and home games, Gene Smith does not want to have them at OSU Stadium because one, our grass is ass, even though he is the one who can change that. And like saying that our stadium is not equipped for winter playoff games. So he would rather have them play in Indiana. It's a big thing right now in Columbus. People bitching about him to get it done.
It's not equipped for winter playoff games. What the fuck is he talking about?
They cannot.
What is he talking about?
It's not
That's
winterized.
the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Right,
fucking turf, Gene.
Well, they should get real grass. That's one thing.
Right.
Yeah, get some damn grass. Like, come on now, you're fucking Ohio State.
Yeah, so he'd rather have those played in Indiana.
Bro, we got this man. They
Over
the NIL money
at Lucas Oil. He wants it in a dome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That bastard. See, fuck that. I get so sick of these northern teams fucking getting rid of their home field advantages in the goddamn cold. Fucking the Minnesota Vikings have been playing themselves. The Detroit Lions have been playing themselves. Fuck that shit. If you are in a cold weather town, you play outside and make those other teams deal with the elements.
I agree with you. It's the same people who, Ryan Day really stood up at a thing and said, yeah, we're going to need $13 million a year for NIL, but we can't get some new grass and fix some pipes.
Hey,
listen.
Priorities, okay? Priorities. That's all I can say in their mind. They're like, hey, we ain't say shit when you asked for $13 million. We gave you that money. Don't you come talk about this damn grass.
And listen, these niggas were getting paid way before NIL. They already have the 13 mil. They already have it. They've been getting paid way before fucking NIL. NIL just put that shit in the front view. The SEC has been doing it for years. How do you think A&M got all these fucking players?
Oh, don't say that. Remember,
just like back,
they've been paying them for a minute. All of them, everyone, all the good teams, all the creme de la creme of this college football list.
Under the table, though, once it comes to the light, it's like now we want more because we're legitimized now.
Oh,
yeah, probably Cedric, you're right. They probably want more, but they all those 4 teams, they all been cheating. You'll all be cheating.
Just remember, man, Nick Saban said we don't pay our players like Texas A&M did.
Cap.
That's how the feud started. I was
He's
like,
capping.
oh my God.
That's why that feud don't make no fucking sense to me. They both know that they fucking paying these players. They were doing that shit fucking years before NIL became a goddamn thing. That's how college football works. That's how it works.
The only thing that was happening was Alabama was winning.
Yeah. Once niggas caught up, Saban got a problem with it now.
Like, that was still the funniest thing my man said. And he named them too. That's still the best part.
Fuck Nick Saban. Oh, I'm gonna call the police on you, ass nigga, bro. Get the fuck on, bro. Fuck that shit. Soon as you get some competition, he won't call the police. I'm calling the NCAA. I'm calling Mark Embry. This nigga cheating. Fuck that.
Well, first of all, Mark Embry, that's a whole other thing. He don't do nothing. If he's calling anyone, he's calling the most powerful man in college football, Greg Sankey.
Yeah, that's right. SEC commissioner.
He is he established that during COVID when he said, "Oh no, we're playing. I don't know what the hell the Big Ten doing, but we're playing."
Hey.
Yeah, there'll be a trophy. There'll be a trophy in a playoff. We're going.
Yeah, we're going. Then everyone else is like, "Say less. We going too."
Like Pac-12 will start as like, "Damn, we already called off our shit. Hey, how many games can we squeeze in?"
Hey, Greg Sankey is the most powerful man in college football. Hey, but y'all got to put some respect on Kevin Warren, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. This nigga is powerful too. $7 billion deal. Put some respect on him, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Checking his Twitter, so Martin was tweeting at him like, "What the fuck you doing? What you waiting for? Make them announcements, man. You know how this game's supposed to play."
I've never called out a famous person like that, and that wasn't in wrestling. I was on that man's ass because I was getting pissed.
You were.
I think you owe him an apology. I think you do. I think you owe Kevin Warren a fucking apology. That man is the first black man to ever run an NFL team. We gotta put some respect on this name. He got the Big Ten $7 billion. That's like 10 times more than the last deal.
First of all,
man, the last time Martin apologized on this.
You were giving this man
apologize on this podcast to Georgia. I don't think he apologizes to this man.
I'm telling you, this man Biggie is giving this man shit because he mishandled something during the fucking pandemic. Nigga, we thought we were going to die during the pandemic. Everyone did.
Greg Sankey didn't.
Because it's different down there in the South. We have sensibilities up in the Midwest. We have sensibilities up here. We ain't fucking. We ain't country bred like those niggas down there.
He canceled the season.
We got more than football down. We got more than football up here than they do down there. That's all I'm saying. Like, you gotta get.
Wait, what'd you say? What'd you just say?
I said we got more than football than they do down there. There's more
in the Midwest
down here. Huh?
Justin, this is all this fucking state cares about.
That's true.
They care. I don't know. I think they care about way more down the South.
In Ohio?
Honestly, Ohio cares, bro. I'm not. You trying to say something that I'm not trying to say that. I'm not saying Ohio doesn't care about football. Midwest doesn't care. I'm just saying in the stuff they care about it more. They care about it more. It's okay.
Justin, you can't cancel the season and then the next day you're at your son's football game. And then people are like, but you're at your son's game, but you canceled the Big Ten season. Why is that? And then you let your son play football, but you didn't want the conference to play. And let's get something straight. Kevin Warren did not get that damn deal. The school presidents got that damn deal. Let's cut. Someone got to be the negotiating. Someone got to be on the behalf of the presidents. Come on now. No. It's the same people who it's the presidents and the athletic directors. Kevin Warren is just there and he talks. If he says something and then the next day it changes because the president said, "Hey, watch your mouth. Remember, we can get rid of you at all time." Man, he's just a puppet. He's not any better than Jim Delaney was in the Big Ten.
I don't think we're talking about a Goodell, Adam Silver situation where the owners are literally like the owners are his boss. I don't think the dynamic is the same in college.
It is with the presidents. They could just fire his ass.
They can.
Yes, the presidents are the one who hire him.
Well, he got them $7 billion. He ain't going nowhere.
They got themselves.
He got them $7 billion. Kevin Warren did. Good black man.
I could really say Ohio State got them $7 billion because you see the TV numbers that we do, but
I ain't gonna argue that either. I will not argue that. We all know Ohio State runs a Big Ten. The Big Ten goes through Ohio State and everything, period.
You just like Kevin. It's okay, man. It's all right.
I do. I'm a fan. Inspirational. I almost cried watching his real sports.
Oh my God.
It almost made a real nigga shed a tear, man. I ain't gonna hold you.
Byron, you've been quiet. I know you don't like Kevin.
Byron has not seen his real sports. If Byron watched that shit, he will turn around. I know he would. Byron's a sap.
You know what?
He said
Justin,
he's a sap.
I'm gonna watch his real sports and then we'll talk.
They come back next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Complete it all by then?
How long is it?
Oh, it's only like 20 minutes. It was a segment in the real sports. It wasn't a whole hour. It's not long. You probably find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it here at some point this couple days.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I can't believe we're ending on Kevin Warren. How about that? But with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Buckeyes are probably going to win by like 52 points. So as long as no one gets hurt, we're all good. Thanks, Justin, for popping in, even though you said blasphemy about Kevin Warren, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. I had to bring some energy to the podcast today.
Kevin Warren. If you want to listen to Justin, you can check out his football podcast. He is back, and he'll have one next week. So it'll be week 6 in NFL already.
Nah, it'll be we'll be going into week 6. So we're going to recap week 5, some nuggets from week 4, all that good stuff. We'll tell you what happened the week before, get you ready for the games in the upcoming week, tell you who's the biggest winners and losers of that last week, and it might be some MVP conversations because we have a month's worth of data now. So
that's true. And until otherwise, I'll give my spoiler. Raiders are still the biggest loser. They suck. But that's for NFL. And with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.